Hey everybody, welcome back to the JK Man podcast. If you couldn't tell by the photos behind me today, we're going to talk about dumb drivers, let alone like experiences that you've had. I get it. We all think that we are, pretty good drivers out there. Some, it's not far off, but others, yeah, fucking right. How'd you even pass your test? But when I was learning how to drive, I ended up having to take the driving test twice. Both times my tests were in the winter, but I was also forewarned that the two women at the time that ran the driving tests at the DMV were very harsh. I get they're supposed to critique you to make sure you're, able to actually pull it off, drive safely, but they were also very nitpicky and fucking just downright assholes because the first time around I went there with my mom and a girlfriend at the time, and I thought for what it was, especially being during the winter, that I was doing all right. I come back, and she said that I failed. I think at the time you were allowed 30 points. I had like 32 or some shit like that, or 36. And then I look at all, and she had a snooty fucking attitude the whole time. I look at all of her shit. Said that I don't use my mirrors enough, and this and that, and this and that. I look at some of the critiques, I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand that, but with the mirrors, I thought I did just fine. I thought I did just fine on this. So I'm pissed off because I thought I was going to get it in one go because my instructor even said that I wasn't obviously the best student, but I was actually pretty good compared to most of the ones she's worked with that year. Well, it's time for me to do the second road test, and it's, I don't know, a few weeks later or so. I go up to my dad because he said he was going to take me, and I go, okay, we got to head to the DMV soon. He goes, before that, come with me. Why? Just fucking come with me. So we get in the car, and he has me drive all the way out to Bruce. And then he took me around Bruce, made me do some of the shit that you would expect on a driver's test. He goes, now you think you got it? Yeah. Okay. Don't fuck it up. Now let's go. So we get to the DMV. I got the one who was supposed to be the nicer of the two. Well, she wasn't much better. She had a better attitude, but she was just as much as a picky and ornery woman. Like, she didn't want to fucking be there. She, even though it's her job, she thinks, oh, it's just another young punky kid. He's just gonna drive like a dumbass. So I did what I was told to do by the instructor and my parents. Don't be like a fucking cartoon character, but slightly over exaggerate so they get the idea that, okay, he's doing what he was taught how to do. Hopefully it's good from there. We're driving, and they go, okay, I know there's no cars here, but since it's during the winter, we're not going to look for any just in case. Pull up on this section. It's a slight incline, and then you're supposed to point your wheels the correct way. She was happy with that. She goes, okay, now we're going to go to a more level place and pretend to do the parallel parking with no cars around. So we do that, and she goes, okay, now set your parking brake. And I was a little confused why. It's like, we're not at a incline or anything. Why the fuck are we doing that? I go, I'm not actually sure where that is right off the bat. So she marked me down for that because I was unaware of one part of the car at the time because I was fucking nervous. Then we're on a side street where it goes between a gas station and a hardware store in Ladysmith. That's at an actual little incline, like just enough. Well, even though it looked clear, there was a patch of black ice there. And we waiting for everybody on the Highway 8 section to go through. And she goes, okay, should be clear. Go ahead and continue straight. So I hit the gas a little bit to get going. Spin, spin, spin. Give it a little bit more. And she kind of looks at me like, well, aren't you going to go? Spin, spin, spin. And then I gave it a little bit more. And then finally, you felt the car. It wasn't that fucking bad. It was just a little. That you felt the traction. Just a little jolt. She marked me off fucking 6 or 7 points just for that. Failure to control vehicle. It's like, fuck you. We're in the winter. We were on ice, obviously. Otherwise, we would have been gone already. And that little bit of the tires just barely gripping, and you're going to mark me off that much? I did what I would consider very good. I was more relaxed. I was more confident. I worked on the things they said I was doing wrong and made sure to keep doing the things I did do right. And then I finally get back to the damn DMV. I look at it. I did pass. Barely. This bitch, again, I think the cutoff was 30 points. She gave me a 24 or 26. And I'm looking at the critique. My dad's like giving me a, proud of you, you passed. And I start bitching about the fucking thing inside the DMV, and I saw that woman turn her head. I don't care. I wish that they would have fucking talked to her about it, because according to what I've been told by numerous drivers, I'm not the only one that's had a problem with those two bitches. It's also almost everybody that goes through there. So it's not just my opinion. Almost everybody has had a problem with them. They're long retired and out of there now, because that was what? Almost fucking 10 years ago. But still, they gave everybody a hard time. And I'm looking at it. Remember, the first test didn't use the mirrors enough. And this, that, and the other thing. This one relied on mirrors too much. Well, there's no fucking making you happy, is there? We were told to exaggerate, but not go on them constantly. So I did that. I'm not using them enough. So I use them a little bit more. Now I'm using them too much. Make up your fucking mind. Just like there's been other stories that my instructor told me, like there was this one kid, he was doing phenomenal. He's doing great the whole test. They're talking, they're having fun, whatever. They get like a few miles away from the DMV. Granted, this was his fault, so I understand it. But at the same time, come on. The kid was driving, and he goes, okay, we got like a couple miles before we're at the DMV. Just keep doing what you're doing. Dumbass put it on cruise control. Instant fail. Then there was another time, it was actually one of my brothers. There is no stop sign where the parking lot meets the highway where the DMV is at. So common people, like literally anyone, including probably the instructors themselves, normally you roll up to where the gravel meets the road and you check to see if there's any cars coming. You're clear, go. Well, my brother, that's exactly what he did. And then he did the whole test. Finally he gets back and he feels pretty good about the test. He failed before he even started. Looked at why? Failed to stop. Like as if there was a stop sign there, even though there's not. Before pulling onto the highway, he rolled up, saw there was no one, and went. Instantly failed him there. And then continued to let him do the rest of the test. Why didn't you just go, I'm sorry, but I have to fail you because you didn't stop here. So we're going to have to turn around. Why go through the whole fucking thing if you failed him right on the spot? It'd be a different story if she only jotted off a few points so you're critiquing the rest of the drive. But there's no fucking point of judging the rest of his driving capabilities if you already fucking failed him. Hey. But then, as far as driving goes in general, depending on the distance, I know there's plenty of people out there that have driven across country or just a couple states away or some shit. So they have a lot worse experiences than I do. But as far as distances go, I think the farthest I've had to drive in one direction is almost 3 hours. But I like driving to an extent. It's just idiot drivers that make you sometimes fucking screaming at them because you can't get over the fact that we all go through the same driving course and yet somehow they're making all these fucking mistakes. Like, you got some people out there, they act like they're constantly confused as to where they're going because you can see it in their side mirrors sometimes. They're driving and you are unfortunate enough to be behind them and they're slowing down because they're looking at, oh, is this the address? No. They speed up because they realize it's not. Are we supposed to be in this lane to turn over here? No. And then they cut right back in front of you again. Luckily, you're paying attention, otherwise you're going to fucking hit them. Then you got the idiots that think everything is a fucking race. Like, there's been times just in general or on previous jobs, because my previous job I had to do a lot of driving. I worked for a bread company, so there's driving all over the fucking place. But there's been times where I get off of work or something and you got that dick that's got to tailgate you. I'm not talking, oh, he's like a couple feet behind your car. It's like if I were to tap the brake just the slightest, he's going to hit me. And then you can see him back off and then get up on you again. Back off, get up on you again. It's like if you're that determined to go faster, either A, pick a different route. B, go around me. Or C, leave at a different fucking time. Because I've been guilty of it too. But there's how many people around the town I live in now that act like leaving at a good time to make sure you make it to your destination. That's a foreign concept. Because they're always in a rush, like they're late. They got to be there. And if they don't drive as fast as they could, like we're in Talladega, then oh shit, we're not going to make it. Well, whose fault is that? I know traffic can be a factor, but odds are you left the house at the wrong fucking time or you took too long to leave in general. Well, I've had it where not only are they tailgating me, they're bobbing and weaving through the 3 lanes, because most of the town is 3 lanes unless you're in like the downtown or some shit, and almost hitting people's bumpers by inches. Just like you're playing Need for Speed Undercover or some shit in a drag race. It's like you could have easily just followed the pace of traffic, leave at a different time, or just get in the lane you need to be and suck it up. Yeah, it sucks sometimes, but there's not a whole lot you can do unless there's an alternate way. Just like I know sometimes construction holds people up longer than they should, especially if they're not even working on the section that you're fucking driving on. But still, they are the same people that get into little fights like Tweedledee and Tweedledumfuck down here, to where they'll actually try to get at each other, fight each other, because they didn't like what the other person did. I mean, there's been plenty of times I've wanted to do that, but I'm not stupid enough to do it due to the fact that I don't want to spend more time doing something that doesn't make any fucking difference. It's just impeding me from going where I want to go. And also, if it comes down to it, there's going to either be money involved for insurance purposes or cops involved because you two end up getting in a full-on fucking fight or an accident. Just like there's been plenty of times where those morons that don't know where they're going, you'll be on a section like this way takes you to the highway, this way takes you downtown in the little loop-de-loop. Well, there's a car He's in the lane going to the loop-de-loop. So I remain at my normal speed. It's happened to cars in front of me too. We're coming up to the median. He's less than 5 to 15 feet away, somewhere in there. And then realizes, oh shit, I'm in the wrong lane. And he tries to fucking cut over into ours. Nearly missing the fucking median, but it also almost hitting the fucking car in front of them. Or the same thing at a stoplight where they're here and then they at the stoplight as somebody's approaching it because they realize they needed to turn there. Or the ones that they'll be in the lanes with their blinker on, not knowing it's still on from fucking 3 miles ago. How do you not see the light blinking, let alone hear the ticking noise to shut the fucker off if it hasn't done it itself? Because I got stuck behind one guy. He had his blinker on for like 10 miles. You didn't notice? And then that same guy finally, oh shit, goes to shut it off. He turned on the other blinker. And that one stayed on for a couple miles before he actually ended up turning that direction. That's another thing I don't get. Sometimes driving can be scary, especially with elements or just like idiots out there. Like drunk drivers that are way too fucked. Well, you shouldn't drink and drive anyway, but way too fucked up to be behind the wheel. But I'm fine. I can make it. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, Timmy. And they're swerving all over the fucking place. But the people that are in the lanes with the turn signal on because they were, oh shit, we're not in the right lane, and proceed to turn from a lane they're not supposed to and almost crash into 2 fucking cars in the process because their light turns green and they're supposed to go whatever directions they're in. And that's happened so many times. There's also been times where you get stuck behind people that are doing that fucking slow, fast bullshit. So, say the speed limit's 55. It happens all the time. You're going at 60. You got your cruise control set. I get trucks, they gain a little ground faster than cars do. So, they might seem like they're traveling faster than a car. But typically, if you're going at the same speed and you got enough distance between each other, most likely you're going to maintain that unless one of you slows down or one of you speeds up. But then you'll get the guy who acts like he's trying to control it strictly on the pedal. I don't know if it's a I feel like I'm more in control thing or what it is, but he'll be going 60. Then he'll go to fucking 45. Then he'll go to 65. Then he'll go back down to 60. Then he'll be going like 35. And you're like, what the fuck's going on? Then he speeds up to where he's a long ways away. So you're like, okay, cool. Put my cruise control back on. You're going 60. You catch up to him in a matter of seconds. Then you try to get a chance to pass him. And it either the passing lane isn't long enough or the famous, they keep swerving over there magically so you can't fucking see if there's any cars coming to pass them. They're doing it on purpose because they don't want you to pass them. It's like, if we're going faster than you and there's an opportunity and you're not going to change your speed, what difference does it make to you that I'm trying to go around you? You're still going to get there at the same fucking time that you would get there even if I weren't to pass you. Or you get 6 to 7 fucking cars coming down and you can't get a fucking shot off. Or you're going up a hill, and I don't like passing on hills because you don't know what's coming on the other side. And these are the same fuckers that when they finally get a bug up their ass, they'll say you passed them. They'll be way behind you. Eventually, now they're on my ass. they'll get pissed, they'll go around you, and then gone. It's like, ooh, if you would have done that the first time, we wouldn't have had this fucking problem. There's another guy. I got a little enjoyment out of this episode of some road rage, but it was stupid on my part. I was in the car with somebody, and we were on our way to go see my mom or someone, and he was going slow, and doing the slow fast bullshit. I go around him. We're gaining some ground. This guy, I guess that got him mad, so he picked up the pace. He got up on my ass. Then he flashed me a few times, got around me, and then fucking zoomed away a little bit. I caught up to him. And then he was going slow on purpose just to piss me off. So I flashed him a few times back, because he already did it to me for absolutely no reason. So then I pass him. Then it happened again. He passes me. Then there was one time he acted like it was an actual fucking drag race. I'm trying to get around him, and I was more than willing at this point to go faster than I needed to get around him and then maintain a little bit faster of a speed so I don't have to deal with this dipshit anymore, because it was already getting really late out and it was dark. Well, we were almost neck and neck, and for some reason the vehicle I had at the time didn't have enough fucking power to push past that, even with my foot all the way down. So I ended up letting that guy go, and then he maintained a decent speed for once, so I wouldn't have to worry about catching up to him again. But then we were going the same direction. He ended up pulling off on this little section where they like to park cars for sale or some shit over in Cornell, and pulled over there like he was nervous that I was going to follow him home and beat his ass. It's like, no, I just wanted you to get the hint and also just get out of the fucking way. There was another time where I was coming back from picking up my kids. I think I was with my ex, and we were on our way from her parents' house because they used to watch them for us. It's right on this bend over by Mondovi on 37. It's a pretty sharp bend, but I waited. I saw like 3 or whatever cars coming. Let them go. I'm like, okay, when is it my turn? I see a car, but it's way down there. So I'm like, I got time. By the time I start going, though, I'll be up to speed, and then if they need to, they can pass me. So I get going. He speeds up, almost hits me, and then fucking swerves around me on the double line, honks at me. So I beep at him back and I flip him off, just like there, calling him number one. A for effort, but D for dickhead. And he proceeds to brake check me. I'm like, are you fucking serious? So I flip him off again. He stops and brake checks me again. And then this is going back and forth. I'm laughing a little bit. Well, eventually, my ex goes, you need to fucking stop, otherwise we're never going to get home and this is just going to keep happening. So I go, all right. This guy starts finally going, and we get up to like 30 miles an hour, and then he fucking slammed on the brakes again. And I go, what the fuck? And then she's going, if he does that again for absolutely no reason, like no provocation this time, I won't hesitate to get out of the car to either fucking yell at him or, throw some hands. It's like, me too. Because I didn't flip them off this time. What the fuck's their deal? Are they still that pissy about the fact that they ran up on me when they had no fucking reason to do it? So I flipped them off a couple more times. And then eventually they finally went, and then they zipped away. It's like, good. Now we can finally do something. Like, go where we're trying to go. But then you get the paranoid drivers where, kind of like Granny here, not only are they driving super slow, like to the point where one of those handicap scooters could probably fucking pass them. They're also holding up traffic because you're coming up to the light. Granted, you want to start slowing down a little bit sooner so that way when you get to the light, you're not, whoa! But they'll start stopping like 200 feet before the fucking light. So you're basically at a crawl by the time you fucking get there. And those are them plus some of the idiots out there of like younger generation. They'll also be the ones where they'll be the one in front of the line. And they'll stop anywhere from 1 to like 4 car lengths behind the line. For what fucking reason? It serves no purpose. Now, if you were on a hill with a manual, okay, then that makes sense because the car fucking rolls. But most of these cars are automatics. Why are you doing that? These are the same people during the winter. They'll start stopping even farther back and then realize, oh shit, we didn't do it right. And then they try to give it some more gas so they can make it to the fucking stoplight. They gave it too much and then they slide their whole car over the line and partway into the fucking intersection. Or how many people, I know they're not everywhere, but most cities have them, don't know how to use a 4-way intersection with stop signs. It's not rocket science. If you would have paid attention in your fucking class, they tell you, you pull up. Whoever stops first is the one who goes first. And so on. So, I pull up this guy, then this guy, then this guy. I go first, and then the other ones follow. So many people act like, well, there's nobody going at this very moment, so I'm just going to fucking do one of those quick little, and then fucking go. And then they almost get in an accident, and then they look at them like, what the fuck? Whose choice was it to go knowing that you just fucking got there? You knew it wasn't your turn. Or the idiots, you'll see a 4-way that you got to go through. Completely empty. Except one car. They've already been stopped there. They see you coming. They sit there until you stop. And then they decide if they want to go. Or they'll be like, who the fuck are you waiting for? Go! And then you got the idiots that also like to park like douche nozzles. Like their vehicle is worth that much to them that they think they need to take up anywhere from 2 to 4 plus parking spots if they got a trailer. I mean, I get it with a trailer. You don't want to be sticking out. But there's 2 ways you could have gone about that. You either park off on the very side regardless of the walk. You park in the back, regardless of the walk, or you do what most of them do, where they'll pull directly through both parking spots, because normally, unless it's a really big fucking trailer or like an RV, it will fit your truck and trailer between the lengths of both fucking parking spots. No, they gotta drive this way, so they're literally blocking 4 to 6 parking spots from being used in general because they want to be able to just go. You'd get the same thing if you would have just parked the other way. And then as far as people with trailers go, I've had a couple run-ins with asshole semis. We all know that. They think they own the fucking road. There was one time I was on my way to lunch at a Burger King when I worked for a different job, and I was in a vehicle with some people, and we're in between the complexes that the company owns. They have it set up because a lot of semis go through there for transporting between buildings. And they say, wide turn, be aware, semi, blah, blah, blah. Typically, when they put those white lines there, that's so you can be far enough back to where it shouldn't be a problem, right? No. We were on our way. We pull up. We're right behind the white line, like we're supposed to be. And this semi's coming from the other way. He has to turn down the road we're going down, which, whatever. We're far enough back. We should be great. Yeah, no. He cuts the wheel much sharper than he needs to when they're supposed to be taking wide turns to account for the trailer. He comes within like that far of scraping the top of the hood of the damn vehicle and about that far from actually scraping off where the driver's side headlight sits. And we're sitting there screaming and shit, and the driver just like, oh. So we end up, because I was in the vehicle with a supervisor, complaining about it, and I guess that guy got written up. So at least that guy had some repercussions. Kind of like how at my bread job that I had, there was a ex-coworker of mine. He had repercussions against him. But at the same time, that's just the other guy for being a petty little bitch. Because he was driving on the route that he was covering for that week, and he was on his way to Neilsville. Well, there was this dude in a bigger truck, and he's swerving all over the place, kind of like he's drunk or whatever, and almost running people, including my ex-coworker, off the road repeatedly. It was very fucking dangerous. So eventually I think that guy slowed down or ended up slightly pulling over, and he went around him. And I know you're supposed to be professional in a commercial vehicle, but sometimes road rage gets to you. So he tells him how he feels about him. Guy had a dash cam. He didn't like the fact that he got flipped off for driving like an asshole. So he filed a complaint and almost got him fired for it. I mean, I get it. But at the same time, you could have killed somebody and you're throwing a temper tantrum over one of these. Seriously? But there was another time as far as semis, I've had numerous instances where you're in one lane, they're in the other. You all have seen them. They got the big fucking side mirrors so they can see more due to the size of the vehicle. So it's not like they can't fucking see you. And they all of a sudden start trying to get over into your lane like they don't fucking see you, almost running you off the road. I've either had to honk or speed up really fast and almost got hit because, I own the road. I didn't see you. Or there's the one that pissed me and my ex off the most. We were on our way back from Rochester because our youngest at the time was in the hospital due to perforated intestines at birth. We come off of 37 and you're supposed to merge onto, I keep forgetting what fucking highway it is. But anyway, the one heading back towards Eau Claire. And he saw us. I know he did, because how can you not when we were probably a good 50 feet ahead of him before we would have even came close to making contact. We start trying to merge, and I'm not going very fast just for the fact that there's how many dickheads out there that refuse to move over out of the section of a merging lane even though they have the room. I understand if the traffic on the left lane isn't letting you in, but you either speed up or slow down, or at least hopefully the person merging is smart enough to speed up or slow down. He didn't give two shits, and I was already going pretty slow because, semi, I don't want to die. And we had a car full. It was me, her, and I think one or two of my kids. And he almost ran me directly into the fucking guardrail. So after he passed, I got onto the highway. I got around him, and I'm fucking honking at him and flipping him off and shit. We're trying to figure out what company it was, and we, in the heat of the moment, forgot to take a picture of the license plate so that guy could get, repercussions for being a piece of shit. The only thing I can remember is it might have been an Ashley furniture truck because the colors were black and like that dark gold. But that it didn't stop there. After we got around him, he's tailgating us, honking at us, flashing us, and then he gets, I'm not exaggerating either, he gets in the other lane, and then there's a few times he's swerving at us a little bit, trying to intimidate us, and you can see him trying to curse us out, going because he's one of those renta drivers that they've been hiring, had their fucking CDL for like maybe a week and they just barely passed the online course to drive. And by then we finally got to our exit where we're supposed to turn off by Action City. We never ended up calling it in, but we definitely should have. But again, at the time, we didn't remember what vehicle it was, let alone the plate, so that way we could have at least gave them an idea of who would have been driving around that time. But then with the older people, I get it. Their reaction time's slower. They're nervous. They're paranoid. You name it. But the way I see it, if you're that scared to drive, then maybe you should have somebody drive you there. Maybe even get like a Uber or one of those city transits or something. Or if it's that big of a necessity that you're paranoid to drive because your eyesight's not that bad or you're not used to things being fast anymore, then maybe just like have somebody deliver what you're trying to buy to your house. But these are the same people that will drive 20 miles under the speed limit almost all fucking year. They're in a parking spot backing out at a store and they go as slow as fucking possible because I get it. You don't want to hit anybody. But at the speed you're going, even if you were to, it'd be like you going up to a kid and just going, boop. And they think they need to back completely out to where they are horizontal with the cars, but vertical, like, the direction they're supposed to go. I know I'm getting my directions mixed up, sue me. Where they think their car needs to be completely straight before they decide to go, and then they got to think about putting it in drive and then going. Or the same people that say somebody has their car on and their taillights are lit up red like they got their foot on the brake, but they have no sign that they plan on backing out of the spot anytime soon. And these fuckers will not only creep around the corner, they'll sit there and wait as long as it takes just to get that parking spot. I get it. We all want to drive or park closer so we don't have to walk as far. But is it really that important that you're holding up traffic considering the parking lot's pretty fucking full and most of us don't want to walk that far to begin with, and then having to wait on you to find a parking spot regardless of the distance from the door, and we can't exactly back up because there's other cars coming through and there's some behind you all waiting on your ass because you want that parking spot. And they're also, for some reason, the same people. When I used to work at McDonald's years ago, they'll come through the drive-thru every day for a cup of coffee, which is whatever. That's your form of being regular. Or they'll order one coffee and one ice cream cone during the winter. I mean, ice cream's good all year round, but to me, when it's that fucking cold out, even if you wanted ice cream, why the fuck would you drive to get it? Wouldn't you want to just like have some at home so you can just scoop it at your own leisure instead of paying like $2 for a fucking cone that isn't even really ice cream? It's more like a liquid base that comes out like mush. And there was this one, she was a very tiny old lady. You barely hear her through the fucking headset. she drives super fucking slow up to the window, even though she's in the first lane. All she has to do is go straight. And when she finally pulls up to the window, you know how you can adjust your seats and everything. She's buckled up. She got her hands at 10 and 2. But her seat is like she's going like this. And she's like that far from her chest touching the fucking steering wheel. How can you even maneuver to grab your fucking purse, let alone drive comfortably being that close to the damn wheel? I don't get it. Then with driving in different weather, I've always been the one to do that because if I need to go somewhere, unless the weather is absolutely fucking terrible, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get there. I don't care if it's raining or snowing or whatever. But I had it many a times where I'm driving in the rain and I can't fucking see, so I gotta pull over. Like, there was one time, I wasn't the one driving, but I went with, I think, my brothers and maybe a cousin to go play frisbee golf out in Rice Lake. And that day, even though it was fine before we left, it was raining like hell. We had to pull over how many times just to let the rain lighten up some so we can see the road to get there. And then it started doing it while we were playing, too. But I've had to white knuckle it before, especially with those bread trucks. There's been a few times where it felt like I was hydroplaning. There was one time where it felt like the road was washed out because my car at the time, I think that sat, 8 to 10 inches off the ground. And the water I drove through was like that far up my fucking door. And then there was one time with my previous vehicle, pissed me off too because granted the vehicle was starting to show its age, so things were starting to break down a little. But I was driving to go pick something up from extended family. I think it was a trailer or something. And there's a section of the road that kind of dips down a little bit because you're going downhill. Well, there was so much water in that section because the fucking street drain was clogged or something, where it was probably that far up my door. And I slowed down, but you just heard the water hit the vehicle. My car died. I go, oh shit. Finally, after like 15 minutes, I got it running again. But it never worked the same after that. It would constantly act like it's chugging or it wants to die. I was always leery of driving it. But my favorites are like when you're driving in the winter. There was one instance when I first moved to Eau Claire. I was living in this apartment complex with a ex-piece of shit friend of mine. And the only reason I say that is because he was one of my good friends in school. We ended up moving in together at some point so that way we could afford the rent but also both live in Eau Claire. Everything was fine for like the first couple of months, and then he started being two-faced and acting like he's better than me, and then he got pissy with something and screwed me out of my security deposit, trying to blame me for leaving the place a wreck. It's like I moved out how many months before the lease was up? I cleaned my room to the best of the abilities. At most, you would have needed to maybe wipe down the walls a little better and then vacuum the rug. Maybe give it a little bit of a shampoo, which that ain't much. Oh, no. We had to rent a rug doctor. He left the place in shambles and blah, 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 blah. First of all, rug doctors ain't that fucking expensive. And second of all, I have how many witnesses because they helped me move out, including my brother. The room wasn't that bad. That's the only part that I was liable for because technically he was still using his room. He was still using the fucking kitchen and all that shit. I just had my room basically except for when we had to share the bathroom. And he also was trying to get me, before we re-signed the lease, which was like the first big red flag, to run up the bills because at the time we were subleasing from my brother and his wife, but the bills were still technically in their name. So the money that we would pay for rent was technically going to them so they could pay the rent but also pay the fucking utilities. And he's trying to go, oh, we should run up the electric bill. We should run up this because for some reason something happened and he didn't like my brother. So I told him straight up no, because that's fucked up. Why would I do that? Especially to my own brother, considering he's the one who gave us this place to fucking stay at. Well, anyway, I was on my way back from a visit with my mom that day, and it was snowing pretty bad. Well, she goes, are you sure you don't want to just stay the night and either call in or just tell them you're going to be a little bit late so that way you're not driving in the storm? I'm worried about you. I go, I understand that, but I think I'll be fine. I know it's not a cure-all, but even though some people think it is, I have four-wheel drive and I'm careful. I'll be fine. I'll take it easy, and if anything happens, I'll call you. So I head out. I think I'm either on 27 between Ladysmith and Holcomb, or I'm between Cornell and Cadott. But either way, I'm in the country, and there, you've all seen, well, the ones that have seen snowdrifts. Sometimes they're just a little dandruff. Other times they're huge. Well, this day they were huge. The snowdrifts were probably almost 3.5 to 4 foot tall, and it literally made the road turn from 2 lanes into a weave around the fucking bends because the piles of snow from the drifts were so fucking big. There was one guy that was stuck in one. I almost got stuck in one. Well, I made it through all that. Between a little bit of slipping and sliding, I finally made it most of the way back to Eau Claire. I have to turn off, I think it's exit 86 or 87, whatever, where you can turn onto Claremont from the highway. We're probably a good 500 feet from there, just before where the lane starts to open up so you can merge over that way. And there's a car, he's, I don't know, 30, 40 feet ahead of me. Nobody in front of him. And out of fucking nowhere, slams on his brakes. I'm like, oh shit, I have no time to slow down now because, you know, you're going at a decent speed and it's slick out. So I slam on the brakes too, and then I start to go try to slow down enough so I don't hit him. Well, it wasn't working. So I end up swerving around him, and I fishtailed really fucking bad. And then I did a 360, and then another like 180 or some shit. And then by the time I finally got like done spinning, I was the direction I needed to be and in the merge lane, but I had to around him because this fucking dumbass decided to stop out of nowhere. And I wasn't the only car he fucked up. He almost had 2 of them hit him. Then there's been other times you get just the littlest, smallest bit of snow on the ground where it barely looks like somebody spilt a little sand. And you got people stuck in the fucking ditch, stuck in the culverts. You experience this every year. Do you forget how snow works? Why the fuck do you think, oh, we're going to drive like it's the summer, so we're going to be speed racer, and then end up almost fucking hurting yourself and ruining your vehicle in the process? It serves no fucking purpose. And the shittiest snow situation I've had to drive in, I was working for the bread company, and normally I'm supposed to cover vacation routes. Like, some driver goes on vacation, I cover that route for that week until a route opens up to eventually I can get my own, which never seemed to fucking happen. But I was tasked with driving the bigger bread truck with a load of bread out to Houghton, Michigan from Rhinelander. That's almost 2 hours and 40 minutes one way. Well, with that fucking drive, I had to chip off so much snow. I get there and it's snowing like crazy. So I have to chip off more snow when I get there, and then again on the way back. I had to white knuckle it down the fucking slope because I felt like I was gonna drive off the ravine or some shit, because there's a section where it goes up a very steep hill. And the trucks are governed at 60, but their horsepower is absolute bullshit. Because I get the car usually slows down some so you can make the incline, but there's also the fact that the car has enough power so you're not losing a lot of speed. This truck, even going at full speed, it'll bog down to like 35 by the time you make it up the hill. Now imagine that with ice. And then on the way back you could hit almost 85 or higher. Again, with ice, it's worse. I almost end up hitting some deer too, because they were on the road. Scared the shit out of the one. He kind of biffed it over the snowbank. The other one kind of Scooby-Dooed, which made me laugh pretty good. And then he fell down and then spun at least like 15 feet ahead of us, or ahead of me. Then he finally got his bearings and got up and went. And then I finally made it to the store. That was probably the most nerve-wracking storm I've ever seen, because I was essentially driving in a fucking blizzard. And the only reason I had to bring that bread there in the first place is they don't have a depot. So one driver up there, he keeps all of his displays and shit in his basement, and his truck gets parked next to his first store at the end of the day. So I have to drive up to his fucking truck, back up, swap the new bread with the empty trays, and then bring the empty trays back. He goes, oh, you could always like stay here until the weather lightens up, or sleep in the vehicle until, or with the heat on until it lightens up enough so you don't have to drive in this shit. It's like, I get it, but also remember, these trucks shut off after 10 minutes, so who's going to remember to turn the fucker back on if I sleep longer than 10 minutes? So I end up saying screw it, and I drove back. That same route, again with me being the vacation route driver, I was already tasked with this for the week. Well, there was an unexpected death in the families of one of the drivers in the town that I was supposed to be working out of. And they go, this was, I think during the fall, sometime in like October. I already loaded the truck. I'm already like 45 minutes to an hour into this 2-hour plus drive. And my old boss, who's a fucking moron, by the way, he's constantly changing the schedule, trying to get you to do more for less. Like, he would have me merchandise sometimes, and I didn't get paid hourly. That was a commission-based system, but still, he tried getting me to do more and more each time just so he wouldn't have to, or find an additional person to at least lighten the load or take half of what I had. But anyway, I'm driving and he calls me. He goes, "Oh, where are you at right now?" I go, "Doing the job." He goes, "I get that, but like, how far into the drive are you?" I told him how I'm almost to the halfway point, the Eagle River, and he goes, shit. Well, I already let the one of the managers in Wausau know that they're gonna need to come to Rhinelander. Don't worry about unloading the truck or anything, which wouldn't have made any fucking sense to begin with, because the dude still needs his bread. But he goes, "We're gonna need you to drive back to the depot, park the truck. That supervisor knows, and so does the driver. So he'll come there and he'll bring the bread to him. We need you to drive back to Eau Claire tonight so you can cover his route for the rest of the week, because of him having a family member pass away. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Keep in mind, the driver that delivers the bread to the warehouse in Rhinelander, they are absolutely horrible at communication. They can show up anywhere between 9 p.m. to fucking 3 in the morning when some of them start their day for the driving. They get there at like 3 to break down their shit and leave so they can get home sooner. Well, I had their numbers, at least most of them, so they could let me know when they're on their way or if there's a delay or some shit. And they would always forget. This guy didn't show up until probably closer to 11. And by the time my boss called me, it was already damn near 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere in there. And he's telling me to drive back the almost hour I already drove, plus the other 2 hours it takes to get back to Eau Claire. Being fucking exhausted already, I had to try to make that drive, and by the time I finally got back and to the warehouse, because I had to go directly there after I got home, because from the time of me getting back home to starting on that route, I was there for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour because I still needed to grab my uniform. Doing the bread transport, you don't need the fucking uniform. So I got maybe an hour of sleep if you're lucky, and then had to proceed to do a route that was set up so fucking stupid by the previous driver that it takes a lot longer to do that route than needs to, especially since you got to drive around pretty much the entire city of Eau Claire to deliver to his route. Like, I've driven tired sometimes, even though it's not good, but it's just so fucking exhausting when you got to try to make it there and hope to God that you can stay awake. I tried blaring music. I tried turning the AC on, even though they don't fucking have one. They just have a fan that goes heater and fan, basically, with the window rolled down, and provided the fucking Bluetooth connects, because most of the time it didn't. Try to listen to music at a loud volume. Because the radio, it doesn't stay connected the whole way. You keep losing connection. So I end up having to try to do like chew or something to keep me awake. And then that's when the one guy goes, here, you can have one of these. I don't use them very often, but they do definitely help. It's one of those fucking smelling salts or whatever. Well, it did wake me up, so thankfully I was able to make it home because of that. But then you got the other almost accidents that happen, not because of necessarily your driving capabilities or idiots out there. Sometimes it's because of animals. There was one time I was on my way to my factory job I had when I graduated, and I had a classmate of mine who was also working at the same place on day shift at the time. We're driving to work, which is like almost 30 minutes away, and it's a little snowy out, but it's not terrible. But we hit a fucking deer because it was one of those deals where we saw it, we slowed down. We saw that it was still just running along in the fucking culvert, so we was like, okay, we'll pick up speed again. This deer decided to dip off into the corn. Okay, now we can go back up to our original speed. Do that, and then cruise control. It starts speeding up. Blink. Deer comes back out of the corn right in front of me. I end up having to call in, even though we were, 5 to 10 miles out from actually making it there. And instead of being more concerned about our safety or the fact that I had to deal with getting my vehicle towed and fixed if it was fixable, which thankfully it was almost wasn't, and thankfully I did, because the people I brought it to overcharged the shit out of me, because what damage there was, I know body work and paint and this and labor, it adds up. But what was wrong with my vehicle should not have costed what it did. They told me straight up, if your damage quote is higher than what your vehicle is worth, then we cannot, do it for the insurance claim or whatever the fuck. My car was worth $5,000. What they had there, if I were to guesstimate a normal person with a conscience quoting me a price, I could see maybe 3,000. This fucker almost charged me the 5,000. I missed it by like 90 something dollars, just so he can straighten out my hood a little bit, put a plastic replacement grill in place, a new radiator fan, and then color matching my bumper, because they were able to pull that out and they didn't have to replace the bumper. And then they tried claiming also that my fog light was fucked up. I go, no, it wasn't. Oh, yeah, yes, it was. Trust us, we're the mechanics. It was messed up. We had to replace it and blah, 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 blah. I looked at that car before we dropped it off. The fog light, the only thing wrong with it was it popped off of where it was sitting. So I snapped it back in place. I even checked it to see if the fucking thing turned on. It was fine. There was no reason to touch it. But they charged me that they had to fix that too. So there's another couple $100 for a fucking light that didn't need to be messed with. Then there was another instance. Thankfully, there wasn't a lot of damage. I was on my way to go visit my parents, and I was driving this GMC Terrain, I believe. It's at night. There was a couple of dead animals on the ground throughout the drive. You go around them, you try to straddle them, whatever. Well, I guess out of the fucking pits of hell, you saw this black fucking shadow about this big, just like a big old beach ball, dark colored, zip in front of me. And I rammed right into that bastard. Boom, 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 boom. Big ass raccoon the size of my fucking dog almost. The only things that it did with that was it knocked the fucking fog light loose. I've put it back in place. It also tore that plastic liner on the inside of the wheel hub out, which, whatever. And then it dented up a little bit of the metal from the wheel well, and one of the rivets is supposed to hold the fender to the other part of the bumper. One rivet snapped off, just one. So it wasn't a big fucking deal. So we ripped off the rest of that plastic, we bent the metal back, and then the car was fine. The only instance where I've hit an animal that didn't do any damage other than the small ones, because I have hit some birds. There was a time I hit a possum, and then there was the few times I hit a squirrel, even though sometimes I purposely try to hit them, because I personally hate squirrels. Does that make me a bad person? I don't really care. I just don't like fucking squirrels. But anyway, I hit a deer earlier this year. I tried to slow down as much as I could, but I hit that fucker and I watched it. He bounced off like you see in the fucking dash cam videos and landed in the ditch. I saw him fly. I'm in the truck with my son too. My daughters. I pull over looking at the deer because it landed farther than I expected out in the grass. And yeah, I fucked him up. I ended up claiming the deer and then bringing it home and processing it or whatever. But I look at my truck. He hit the truck pretty hard. The only damage that I had was there was a small dent in the bumper and a new one on my license plate. Other than that, I just had a little bit of deer shit and some hair stuck to the front of the truck for a little while. I was actually really proud of that one because not only did I get some meat out of the deal, I didn't have to worry about paying a fucking mechanic to fix my truck, because trucks probably cost more to fix than certain cars anyway. Not like the Cybertruck, that ugly piece of shit. If you own one, that's up to you. It looks like a Grand Theft Auto game from back in the day before the graphics got good. And other than that, there's been some weird instances. I don't know if I'm the only one who experiences this. I've met a few people that say the same thing, where you're driving, say it's just like an hour-long drive. You're driving and you feel like, okay, I made it to this part of the drive really fast. And then the other part of the drive, it feels like it takes fucking forever. Then on the way back, that one felt super short, and the other one takes forever. I don't know why that happens in my brain. It just doesn't make sense. It's the same distance, so how does it feel shorter and longer depending on which way we're going? Is it like based off of the anticipation or what? I don't know. You tell me. And then let's see here. I'd have to say the last thing that I just think is a little weird about being the one driving all the time is when you finally do get that chance to be the passenger princess. Princess, where are you? Anyway, I'll hop in the passenger seat, and then since you're used to driving all the time, you secretly don't trust anyone else who's driving. So you're sitting there hitting the imaginary fucking brake constantly, especially when you're with somebody who's a terrible fucking driver, regardless of how good they think they are. Like, I was with this one person, and they were like, I'm a better driver than you. You're a bad driver. We've had a lot of close calls. No, we haven't. That's your paranoia, because they're the type of person that's also a very paranoid driver when it comes to any sign of the weather being other than comfortable. If it's raining, oh, you gotta be careful. Oh, if it's lightly snowing, you gotta be careful. Yeah, there's a difference between cautious and retarded, because they have it where they're slowing down way before they need to, or taking wide turns where it's not needed. They're the same people that tell you they're a better driver than you, and they've probably been in more accidents than you. And we're driving, and I'm constantly pretending to hit that fucking brake because they're coming up on stops too fast. Or they missed a turn because they say they know where they're going, but they missed it somehow. It's like, you were staring at the road, you've been here 100 times, and you said you know where you're going. I trusted you. So we end up having to try to turn around or find an alternate way to get there. Or just due to the fact that you being the one driving, it feels so foreign being in that passenger seat. I mean, it's nice sometimes if you don't want to be the one driving, you don't know where you're going, or you just sleepy and you want to take a nap. But what drove me the nuts was I was the passenger, and I was told from the get-go, before we head out on our drive, you can take a nap. I know you're exhausted, blah, 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 blah. I'll be fine. So I'm trying to fall asleep, and the fucker's constantly waking me up because they're getting sleepy. They told me they were fine to drive. If we're both exhausted, then what the fuck are we both doing on the road right now? And if anything else, pull over so one of us can take a quick power nap or stop at a gas station to get something to keep us occupied so that way we're not falling asleep so you can make it there safely. Or there was another time, same person, they go, I'll drive, but you drive back because I'm going to be exhausted. And if I tell you that I need you to take over for me, then we'll need to pull over. I go, okay, that makes sense. I would expect the same out of you. Well, we're driving. I start dozing off, and then they yelled at me after we made it there for sleeping. I told you to keep me awake. I go, how is it any different from when I'm driving? I've told you I'm exhausted and you don't want to fucking drive because you're tired. Like you're the only one who works. Ooh. And I'm on the verge of crashing every 20 minutes because I can't keep my eyes focused long enough. I try to wake you up because you fell asleep. And you're basically like, no, fuck off. Let me sleep. Or there was another instance where I told them to keep me awake. That means talk to me. If you keep me talking, you got me occupied. I'm going to stay awake longer. Well, they start talking to me a little bit, and then they magically run out of shit to say within 10 minutes. You're telling me there's not a single thing you can fucking think of? Whether it be talking about shit that you would like to do, things that you're excited about, things you want to get done. Nothing? There's always something to talk about. They felt it was more important to fall asleep. And then when you get mad at them and you wake them up, they're like, I'm sorry. I told you I wanted you to talk to me to keep me awake. I don't know what to say. It's like, really? Next time, you can fucking suffer. That's exactly why I refused to give up my nap the next time I was a passenger princess. Because you act like it's that hard to keep me awake to make it there safely, but yet expect me to do the same. So yeah, there's good people that out there where they actually do what's asked, or at least are courteous enough to go, we'll pull over and we'll swap so that way we take turns. So that way at least one of us isn't going to crash. And then you get the shitheads out there that don't know how to use their blinker. They're driving slow. They're driving like a speed demon. Or just frankly like a dipshit. So there's good and bad out there. All I gotta say is road rage can be fun, but also fucking annoying at times. And I don't look forward to it, but sometimes I do. It sometimes brings me a little joy because granted you're not going to do anything about it, but at least you get to vent without any repercussions. Because you could scream up a storm inside your car. It doesn't mean they're going to fucking hear you and try to pull over and try to fight you over it. So, if you have any agonizingly annoying or funny or cool driving stories, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video or relate to some of the shit that I've gone through, don't be afraid to mention that in the comments as well. Leave a like, a follow. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd like to thank my family and my friends for giving me some of their stories to use for this episode and get to hear me rant about a little bit of the bullshit that we all probably go through. I'd like to thank all the idiot drivers out there for giving me reasons to talk about this. But more importantly, use your fucking turn signal. No, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.